Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Guru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmadgurubhyo Namaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Om Shri Medha Dakshina Murti Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandhadami Bhagavat Gite Bhavatveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutah Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sankapadakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastitadadgatena Manasam Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantanna Vidhussura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. So namaste once again everyone.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste, namaste, namaste. Nanyasna tastu. Na anya ashnatastu. Na ati ashnatastu. Nanyas. Very tongue twisting for me. Na ati ashnatastu yogosti na chaikantamanashnatah na chati swapnashilasya jagrato naiva charjuna. Great difficulty. Could chant this. Anyhow. So we are after presenting 7 out of the 8 Antaranga Sadhanani, Krishna reverts to discuss Bahiranga Sadhanani here. Of course, he will later deal with the remaining Antaranga Sadhanam also, the remaining 1 Antaranga Sadhanam, which is Buddhi Nishchaya. And in this sloka, he talks about Ahara Niyama, discipline relating to eating habits, and also discipline relating to sleeping habits. Again, when we talk in the context of meditation, all these are all very, very important. So the bottom line is that he advocates moderation in everything that a seeker does. If you're not a seeker, there is no problem. You can eat as much as you want, get indigestion, go to the doctor, no problem. And if you are a non-seeker, you can also sleep till 11 o'clock in the morning. Nobody is going to question you. And that's what we find most of the people doing, isn't it? They will have some excuse. Oh, yesterday it was a late night. Oh, today is Sunday, so sleep late. So this is what non-seekers are. But a seeker, like an athlete, an Olympic athlete, has to keep his body, mind fit always. For that, all these are all the disciplines one needs to follow. And as we were seeing, he says, Ati ashnata hai yoga hai na asti. The one who overeats, Ati ashnata hai, can never succeed in spirituality, especially in meditation. Because overeating is not only not good from standpoint of health and from the standpoint of religious rule also, overeating is considered a type of a papa. Because many people are there who starve and die of malnutrition, poverty, etc. And some other place people die of overeating, obesity, etc. This is how Bhagavan works. This is how the law of karma works. Even though he may want it, Bhagavan cannot distribute equally to both these people and then all can be safe. Bhagavan cannot do that. And in last class when we completed, in this context, I mentioned about Aghamarshana Suktam, which is a part of Mahanarayana Upanishad. It is a Suktam which is supposed to be chanted during Snanam while taking bath in the morning. See, if you look at all our rituals, which are compulsory rituals, rather as we call Nitya Karmas, they got only one purpose. That purpose is that please bless me for getting rid of all the papams that I have done. Because knowingly, unknowingly, we do lot of adharma during the day. And that each adharma, even small one, will keep on accruing papa. And which is what is going to create a lot of problem for us later in life or in future lives rather. And therefore, every ritual, starting right from this Agamarshana Suktam, meant for washing off all our papa. So during Snanam, during our bath, we not only wash off the physical impurity, but by converting it into a religious ritual, we wash off the papam also. All these religious rituals are all prayaschitta karmas, whether you take this chanting of Agamarshana Suktam or you take Sandhya Vandanam, all are meant for removal of or washing away of papam, including your annual threads, what is that, upakarmas. All meant for removing all the papam that we do. And Agamarshana, that is why it is called Agamarshana Suktam. Agham means papam. Marshana means destroying. Suktam means a prayer. And in that Agamarshana Suktam, there are so many sins which are enumerated. Specifically, I did this akarnam yesterday, that which should not have been done. What should be done, I did not do, that entails papam. All these papam, let them be washed off. Prayer. Excuse me. But then, one day you do does not mean that the slate is clean. Because next day I start again. And one of the papams mentioned in Agamarshana Suktam is overeating. Atyashanat atipanat yacha ugrat pratigrahat tanme varuno raja panina hyavamarshana. Sohama papo virajo nirmukto mukta kilbishah nakasya prishtamaruhya gachet brahma salokatam yaschapsu varunassa punatva punatu punatu aghamarshanaha. So there are three mantras. Of course, the suktam, of course, is a very long suktam. It will take about 10 minutes to chant the whole suktam. 10 to 15 minutes while you are taking bath. But these three particular mantras are relevant in this context. Ati Ashnat. Yesterday, one of the papams I did was overeating. Not only I overate at the time of breakfast, lunch and dinner, but in between also I have been keeping my mouth and tongue and teeth busy. Because now fridge is available. Open the fridge. There will be a light which will enlighten all the things which are there in the fridge. You go to a supermarket, so many snack items are available. You buy everything and keep munching. When you want to have a coffee, you want to munch something. If you want to have an afternoon tea, you want to munch something. So the mouth is always busy. And now some youngsters, if nothing is available, chewing gum. And according to the Shastra, eating, between eating, anything is never accepted. And that is why it is not only bad for health, but Shastra says it is a papam. And such papam gives sometimes instant karma phalam. It will lead to what? Indigestion, upset stomach, everything, discomfort. Immediate karma phalam is such papam, overeating papam gives. And therefore Krishna wants, do not overeat. But then some people have a genuine confusion about what is overeating. Because they do not know the difference. How do I know that I must stop here? Because of the, that boundaries are not clearly demarcated, we tend to overeat, isn't it? In olden days, people used to sit down on the floor and then eat. And there was a distance between the plate or the plantain leaf and the mouth. So while eating, one would need to bend down a little to pick up the food and put it in the mouth. You will try to take the mouth as near to the food as possible. And therefore, when the stomach was half full, it would become difficult to bend to reach the plate. And that will be a signal to stop eating. Now that we have got dining table and all, the gap between the food and the mouth is very short. Very here, just like this. And you go on eating because it is tasty. So instead of eating to satiate the hunger, we eat to satisfy the taste buds. Therefore, how am I to know where to stop? Shastra gives guidance. Purayet ashane ardhama ardham purayet ashane ardham tritiye udakena tu vayu sancharanarthaya chaturtam avaseshayet. Shastra says, follow this rule. Divide your stomach into 4 parts, 4 portions. Not physically, but conceptually. Mentally, you divide. Half the stomach should be filled with solid food. Purayet ashane ardhama. Then tritiye udakena tu. The third quarter should be for liquid. like water, buttermilk. What is liquid, What about the fourth quarter? Shastra says leave it empty. Chaturtham avaseshayet. Leave it empty so that there is enough space for digestion of the food. Mind you, digestion requires fire, water, and air. All these things are required for digestion. Fire is there, Jataragni is there. So water you can drink, but you have to give space for air to circulate also so that the digestion is complete. Therefore, we should leave space for circulation of air during digestion. And that is why when we overeat, it leads to indigestion because there is no space for the food to be mixed and for the air circulation to aid digestion. So, Chaturtham avaseshayet. So now it says fill your stomach to half, that half your stomach will be filled with solid food. Now, how do I know when the stomach is half full? Since I am sitting in a dining table, is there any measure we can use? Like we have a meter in the vehicles, so many meters. When the petrol tank is full, it will show. Then half full, it will show. Or there is a speedometer, shows the distance traveled. Similarly, do we have any meter to say, okay, stomach is half full, stop? Unfortunately, there is no such device. But Bhagavan has been kind enough. He has given us certain disciplines. And Shastra talks about those disciplines. The first discipline is you must eat slowly, not just go on gulping. And that's why it is advised that we should chew the food very well in the mouth before swallowing it. And this problem, if you have attended marriage feasts and all, is a big problem, especially in South Indian marriages where they put this plantain and all that. Because the serving takes place so fast that you have to eat, you are forced to eat very fast. And you don't know when to stop because the food keeps coming and you keep eating. And that's why it is advised. In fact, in my childhood and all, my mother used to tell me, every mouth of, every, what they call it,
Marshall.
portion
Morsel.
of food put in the mouth, chew it 32 times. Why 32? Because you got 32 teeth. That's all. Nothing scientific about 32. Means what? Eat slowly, chew the food very well before swallowing it. This has two benefits. One is the food becomes very soft and can be digested easily. So when the food reaches the stomach, it is almost half digested rather. Your teeth has done their job. And secondly, doing this slows down the pace of eating. Normally, when you observe, when we do not chew the food properly and keep on gulping it, it leads to overeating. And there is another important aspect which is inbuilt in our system, which we need to understand. When the stomach is full in the sense half full in our definition, a signal is sent to the brain so that the brain can direct the mouth and hand to stop eating. But it is said that this information from the stomach to the brain, it takes 20 minutes to travel. Therefore, we will get instructions from the brain only after 20 minutes of the stomach being full. And in the meantime, we would have continued to keep eating, which will also lead to overeating. Therefore, if we eat slowly, this time gap will be reduced, thus avoiding instances of overeating. And even if there is some overeating, the digestion is not affected because the food has been chewed well, made into a pulp for ease of digestion. And there is one more aspect to eating which we should understand. We eat food for two reasons. One is to satisfy hunger, and secondly, to pamper our taste buds. In fact, it is the latter which leads to overeating. No doubt, eating becomes a pleasure when the food is tasty. And for that, mindful eating is advocated. Because what happens is we keep on gulping without enjoying the food, enjoying the taste of the food. Every portion of the food contains the same taste. But first few minutes we gulp everything without enjoying the taste, and suddenly now we want to eat for taste. So you end up eating extra, and then the problem of overeating. So what is said? Mindful eating should be followed. What is mindful eating? Mindful eating is focusing your mind entirely on the taste and the quantity of food. Eating without any distractions. It is eating focused only on the food. When your mind is behind the taste, every portion of food you take, you will enjoy the taste. You will also be mindful of the quantity of food you are eating. And that is why they say one should not talk while eating, one should not watch TV, attend to mobile phones, or even read a book while eating. Eating should be a exclusive sadhana, a very important sadhana for us to continue living. Full concentration should be on eating. And if we practice that, not only we will be aware of the taste, but when the signal goes to the brain of stomach is full, that signal also we will become aware of. And we would eat moderately and also enjoy the taste of food. Therefore, if we follow all the rules for right eating, we will stop when we get the stop signal and not continue to indulge our taste buds. We can thus avoid overeating. So all these tips are meant for whom? For a seeker, for a sadhaka. Now you say, no, it is difficult to follow all these rules or keep it in mind. We can then follow a thumb rule, simple rule. There are two kinds of discomfort we experience in relation to eating. Before eating, you have got discomfort due to hunger. If you eat the right quantity, this discomfort will go away. If you eat too less, this discomfort will continue. And after eating, if you have got still discomfort, that is because of overeating. So after eating the right quantity, the hunger discomfort should go away, but overeating discomfort should not come. If we feel discomfort after eating, that means we have overeaten. So we will know, okay, this time this much food I took, I took, for example, 5 chapatis and I am feeling discomfort. So next time I will reduce it to 4 or 3 and see whether my discomfort continues or not. My hunger discomfort continues or not. If not, then that is the quantity you must eat. Measured quantity. Rice also, you try. Take one, some small, what they call, katoriya. I mean, Hindi comes, Tamil kinnam. And then take one, portion of rice. If it is less, take a little more. If it is more, reduce it next time. So that's how we do little bit experiment with our capacity to eat, because this capacity to eat also varies from people to people. It is not uniform. Some people have got small stomach, some people have got big stomach, like that character. What's that called?
Bhima.
A Bhima, or there
Bhima.
are so many others, I mean, some Gundodaran and all that. So, by doing this small experiment, we can moderate the quantity of food next time, if not today. And this concept is called Mita Aharaha. So Krishna says if a person does not follow this eating discipline, he cannot be a spiritual person. And then Krishna equally wants one more thing. Na ekantam anashnata. Do not fast too much also, which is against nature. Our system cannot take too much of fasting. And that's why you find that all those people who fasted too much in their younger days, they tend to get into all sorts of problem later on. Primarily diseases of the stomach like ulcer, etc. So too much of fasting is also against the Shastra. And that is what, that's the whole thing has gone for a toss. I have seen people who want to reduce weight, so they will not eat anything. Only drink water, things like that. So therefore, in fasting also, moderation is required. If at all you want to fast, it can be only once in a while, like Ekadashi, Shivaratri, etc. Vaikuntha Ekadashi. All those, Shastra has given you occasions for you to fast moderately. So many are there. Vratams are observed. All this is there. So you did not add to that on your own, in terms of fasting. And even in fasting, as regards whether it should be total fasting or liquid fasting or fruits only, that is phalaharam or nirjalam, one should adopt what suits one's system. In fact, this phalaharam, which is Sanskrit word, in Tamil, they translate as phalaharam. Different types of thing they eat during fasting. That is also not correct. So one should observe one system. Some people can do nirjala upavasa. They can do. I know a person who does that. Every Ekadashi, he will not even drink a drop of water whole day. Amazing capacity. And fasting is called upavasa. Upavasa means staying near. Staying near to what? Staying near to Ishvara. Staying near to the Lord. So fasting, on the one hand, when you have no other activity, when you are fasting, maybe everybody is fasting at home, no cooking is required. So what should you do with the spare time? Shastra says, spend your time in prayers, doing parayanam, meditation. While fasting has got health benefits, it is more a spiritual practice which promotes titiksha, bearing capacity. I can bear my hunger for 24 hours. So we can practice any type of fasting, but Krishna warns against overdoing this also. Therefore, na ekantam anashnata. The one who does not eat at all also cannot practice meditation. Whenever he closes the eyes, he will see idli in his friend or dosa in his friend because of too much of hunger. When you close your eyes, only food thought will come. You will, instead of meditating on Ishvara, you will be meditating on idli, dosa, vada, etc. That is also not correct. So enough I have discussed about the food topic. Right. Then what about sleep? He says, Nacha ati swapna shilasya. The one who sleeps too much also cannot succeed in meditation. And nacha jagrataha eva. And also the one who does not sleep at all. Because this person wants to practice 8-hour meditation. A special. And therefore he goes to bed at night 12 o'clock and then gets up at 3 o'clock. Practically he gets 2 to 3 hours of sleep, which is not enough for the body. If you do not give sufficient sleep to the system knows how to grab sleep. And it will use the meditation time for that. Therefore, during meditation, all deficiencies of sleep will be made up. You will have a nice sleep in meditation, including you may be snoring also. Or else, if not meditation, you will be sleeping in the class. Class will become a nice sleeping hour. Therefore, the message is give the system its due. And it varies from individual to individual. Even though normally 7 to 7.5 hours is required for everyone, depending on age, depending on one's own constitution, it varies. Again, that is something that we will learn how much rest and sleep we require over a period of time. We will know that ourselves. But bottom line is sufficient amount of sleep should be given, and those who do not do that, Krishna says, yoga na asti. They cannot succeed in meditation. So this is about another sadhana, which is very important sadhana, two sadhanas in fact, to do with eating and sleeping he has dealt with. Continuing. Yuktahara viharasya yuktacheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. The Anvaya of the sloka is yoga bhavati dukkha yukta ahara viharasya yukta swapna avabodhasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu. Yoga bhavati. Dhyana yoga becomes dukkha, the destroyer of sorrow. Yukta ahara viharasya. For one who is moderate in eating and recreation. Yukta swapna avabodhasya. The one who is moderate in sleeping and waking. Yukta cheshtasya. And who is moderately engaged in what? In karmasu, in actions. So Dhyana Yoga becomes the destroyer of sorrow for one who is moderate in eating and recreation, who is moderate in sleeping and waking, and who is also moderately engaged in actions. So he is continuing the same topic. In the previous sloka, he said what should not be done, and in this sloka, he is explaining the phalam, the benefit of following what he has advised in the previous sloka. Basically, moderation in everything. A seeker, a sadhaka has to be moderate in everything. Yukta ahara, moderate in eating. Vihara, moderation in resting or recreation, entertainment. Of course, a human mind requires some diversion, isn't it? You cannot concentrate on something all the time, unless, of course, you are prepared for it. Generally, it is difficult for the mind to be attentive for more than an hour. In fact, the earlier research said 45 minutes. And that is why in schools, colleges, and all, they do not have class periods exceeding 1 hour. Mostly it is 45 minutes. Here also, our acharyas have followed the same rule, and that's why generally our classes are restricted to 1 hour. Because beyond that, the focus goes away. Mind gets tired after that. And it needs a diversion to rejuvenate itself. In fact, I was reading somewhere the latest research, especially amongst children, is this attention span is 40 seconds. Their mind, if they focus on something, it can't focus more than 40 seconds. They want a diversion. It has come to that. Totally let loose mind. And of course, diversion of the mind is accepted in the Shastra. But Shastra says that diversion should also be in moderation. It is not that 45 minutes you are concentrated and next 4 hours you are seeing some movie. Say a diversion. Some 5 minutes, 10 minutes for the mind to rejuvenate, recoup the lost energy. That is fine. As Swami Paramathananda says, it should be like the pickle, which is a side dish for the curd rice. You should not make the curd rice the side dish for pickle. Similarly, entertainment is required. Music, drama, cinema, light reading, all are perfectly all right. But I should know when and how much to indulge in them and when to stop them. One cannot have entertainment 24 hours a day. And that's why they say, the principle of television, is news, entertainment, and education. But see, today, if you actually observe, the education channels are rarely used. Entertainment channel becomes dominant. In fact, if it is a holiday or a Sunday or anything, why holiday Sunday? I have seen people who are supposed to be doing Ekadashi fasting, sitting before the TV, watching 3 movies one after the other. 9 hours time gone when they should have been sitting near the altar and doing Vishnu Sahasranama, Parayanam, etc. And we also find that in some houses, again, practice. Early morning, they will get up and switch on the TV. And the whole day, the TV will be running. Whether someone is watching, not watching, nothing. TV will be running. Therefore, the message is entertainment also should be in moderation. Yukta cheshtasya karmasu. So, in miscellaneous clause, Krishna adds in all activities. Why you are talking about food, sleeping, etc. In all activities, there should be moderation. You can be committed to your profession, wonderful. But if you are fully involved in the profession and you end up as a workaholic and you do not have time for anything at all, no time for children, no time for spouse, no time for entertainment, that is an extreme which one needs to avoid. In fact, in many cases, this is the reason for the family going haywire, Nobody talks to anybody, everybody is busy, and with today, with this cell phone, it has become really a big challenge. And with big houses, everybody has got their own room. They don't even come out of that room. They stopped being together. There is no bonding. The more the family spends time together, the more will be the bonding between members. As they say, the family that eats together stays together. Togetherness is very, very important for a family. And what is happening in today's life, priority confusion is a big problem. People have got lots of time for lots of unnecessary or even harmful things. But there is no time for Gita, Upanishads, spending time with the family, etc. It's very unfortunate. Shastras are learned by a small number of people, and that is also on decline. People have given up all Nitya Naimittika karmas. Today, everybody wants only one thing: money, 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 more money. They want to climb the corporate ladder so fast, and for that, they are ready to do any adharmic act. And sometimes, when they fall from the heights, it's a very hard fall, terrible. You can witness in US, a guy is doing very well, earning a lot of salary. One fine day, he is told from tomorrow, don't come to office. Here is your 3 months, pay or whatever it is, they give some compensation. It's a huge fall because all of a sudden the entire earning vanishes. He doesn't know what to do. He has already borrowed credit card, this, that, and all. What is that? Mortgage loans. It's very easy to get all kinds of loans here. But take all loans and enjoy an artificial, luxurious life. One fine day, all stop. Then you don't know how to repay those loans because the loans will come whether you earn or not. You have to repay the loans. And that's why we find that many people who have been doing very well suddenly commit suicide with family. So our scriptures are constantly warning us that money, these luxuries, etc. are good. Artha, kama are necessary. But they are not the be all and end all of life. And this warning comes off and on. But people do not listen to the warning because they have no time to listen also. They are in a constant rat race. Therefore, Krishna says always dedicate some time for satsanga, meet some Mahatma, spend some time exclusively with yourself in meditation. If you do satsanga, Mahatma and all, they will keep reminding you of these values. Study the scriptures regularly. Spend half an hour. Go to some ashram, some pilgrimage. Bring a balance in life. So whatever goal you are chasing in your life, be moderate in all your actions. And therefore Krishna says, Karmasu yukta cheshtaha. Be the one who is moderate in actions also. And yukta swapna avabodhasya, the one who is moderate in sleep and waking and dreaming also. The person who indulges in everything in moderation, yoga bhavati dukkha. Dukkha has to be understood very carefully because the word dukkha is very prominent in this word. People will think dukkha means it brings sorrow. The opposite meaning. Ha means destroyer. Dukkha means sorrow. So dukkha means destroyer of sorrow. Dukkam hanti nashayati iti dukkha. So such a moderate lifestyle, it will become the destroyer of sorrow. That means what? It will become a source of peace. So meditation will become a source of peace, that is destroyer of the sorrow, only for a person of moderation. For others, meditation will be a fruitless exercise. So now, having dealt with Bahiranga and Antaranga sadhanani, which contribute to the success of meditation, in the following verses, Krishna talks about Dhyana Swarupam and Phalam. Dhyana Swarupam means actual process of meditation, and Dhyana Phalam means culmination of the meditation process. And in dealing with this topic here, Krishna is closely following the system presented by the Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali. Patanjali, as we all know, was a great rishi who has presented a beautiful system for the practice of meditation. Not only meditation, for the integration of the personality. All three levels of the personality, which is called Yoga Shastra. And this Patanjali Yoga Shastra has got two parts. One is the practice of meditation, and the other is the philosophy, which is called Yoga Darshana. So Patanjali Yoga Shastram has got a practical part, which is of meditation, etc. The other is the theoretical part, you can call of philosophy. And in this Patanjali Yoga Shastram, the philosophy part is not accepted by Vedantic tradition. We do not accept the teachings of Yoga Darshana. Yoga philosophy of Patanjali is rejected by the tradition because it is against Vedic teaching. In fact, Vyasacharya in his Brahma Sutra specifically mentions yoga philosophy is not acceptable to us. And the reason is this: it is not in tune with Upanishadic teaching. So even though we reject the philosophical part, the practical part of meditation, preparation for meditation, etc., are acceptable to us. And therefore, Vyasacharya as well as Shankaracharya clearly say, we accept Patanjali's yoga abhyasa. Yoga practice we accept. But Patanjali's yoga philosophy we do not accept. Since the yoga abhyasa, the practice of meditation, is acceptable, that is heavily borrowed in our traditional works. In Puranas like Bhagavadam, etc., also Vyasacharya has borrowed from Patanjali's system of yoga practice. Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter also, But ultimately, sixth chapter, who is the author? Vyasacharya is the author. Who is the author of the entire Gita? Krishna is only a character who is teaching Arjuna. But we must remember, Gita is a part of Mahabharatam, compiled by Vyasacharya. And therefore, Vyasacharya is the author of Gita, also the compiler of Gita. And he borrows the yoga method of meditation heavily in this sixth chapter that we are studying. And since it is heavily borrowed in our tradition, and since it's a very, very useful system, we will briefly discuss about yoga system of meditation. Because it's a very good information. We must always know why we are doing certain things. What is the context? So it is useful to know about, at least briefly some aspects of Ashtanga Yoga. It is popularly called Ashtanga Yoga, meditation in 8 steps. Anga literally means a limb, or we can translate it as a step or stages also. And this is a wonderful system for integrating the whole personality, because it takes care of our physical personality, Annamaya Kosha. It takes off our Pranamaya Kosha, the energy personality. It takes care of our mental personality, Manomaya Kosha. And it takes care of our Vijnanamaya Kosha also. All 4 levels it deals with. So it's a wonderful integrating system, highly appreciated. And Shankaracharya also in his Bhashyam talks gloriously about this system. But most people who practice this asana pranayama have no clue what this Ashtanga Yoga is. Or even if they have a clue, they only follow this pranayama and asana. Other aspects of this Ashtanga Yoga, they totally ignore. But the integration of personality will happen only if you follow all the 8 limbs, at least 7 limbs. When you come up to the Dhyana Yoga stage or Dhyana stage, 7th stage is Dhyana. Up to that, at least you must follow. Forget Samadhi stage. Doesn't matter. So the first Anga is called Yama. Yamaha. Second one is called Niyamaha. So Yama and Niyama. And these are 2 steps for us to take care of our way of life, which can be taken as Bahiranga sadhanas. Yama and Niyama deal with our way of life because our way of life determines our mental makeup. The way we lead our life determines our mental makeup. If you are a highly reacting type of a person, the mind is generally restless. And therefore, when we sit for meditation, we cannot get Mano Nigraha. And therefore, Patanjali also accepts that we have to tune and discipline our general lifestyles, which are called Yama and Niyama. The word Yama is often translated as a restraint, a moral discipline, or a moral vow. And Patanjali states that these vows are completely universal. No matter what you are and where you come from, your current situation, where you are heading, whatever be your nationality, whatever may be your stage in life, totally independent of anything. But to be moral can be difficult at times. And especially as the Kali Yuga progresses, it is becoming more and more challenging. And which is why it is such an important practice. The yamas traditionally guide us towards practices concerned with the world around us. but often we can take them as guide of how to act towards ourselves also. Yama emphasizes the things to be avoided in our day-to-day life to enjoy a calm mind. And Niyama talks about things to be followed in our day-to-day life in a very simple language. You can roughly call them the do's and do nots, the vidhis and nishedha. In fact, Swami Paramathananda calls them the 10 commandments of Hinduism. 5 yamas and 5 niyamas. So the 10 commandments consist of 5 don'ts and 5 do's. So Patanjali talks about 5 do nots in yama. What are they? Ahimsa, non-harming or non-violence in thought, word and deed. Satyam, truthfulness. Asteyam, non-stealing. Brahmacharyam, appropriate attitude towards the opposite sex. Aparigraha, non-greed or non-hoarding. Very briefly, I will touch upon them because each one is a full topic deserving a long, lengthy session. If you are a student of Yoga Shastra, Yoga Sutras, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, there will be a very detailed description there, all these things. So ahimsa basically means avoiding of injuring others. It's also called non-violence in English. So the first yama, discipline, is giving up of violence, physical, verbal or mental. Violence need not necessarily mean only physical violence. When you abuse somebody, it is mental or verbal violence rather. And if you are psychologically torturing somebody, it is mental violence. So non-violence includes all 3 types of violences. And why should we give up violence? Because if we take to violence, the environment gets disturbed. And when the environment is disturbed, it is again going to come back to me only. We should always remember that the world is like a mirror. You smile at the mirror, the image will smile back at you. You frown, it will frown. What you do to the mirror image will do to you. So always remember, the world is a mirror, and whatever you do to the world, it is going to come back to you. May not be in a visible manner, but in an invisible manner. Therefore, if I do violence, I will have to be the victim of violence later. Since I do not want anybody else to practice violence against me, I should have the discipline not to practice violence against anybody else, including plants, animals, not only human beings. So appreciating the principle, it is said, give up violence, physical, verbal, and even mental. So this is the first yama. Then the second one is satyam. Always speak the truth. Means what? Give up speaking untruth. Anrita varjanam. Giving up falsehood, both at the thought level and more at the verbal level. Important. That should be a value because your thoughts, your words and your action should be aligned. And if you give up the thoughts of speaking falsehood, it will reflect in your words and also in your actions. Then asteyam. Asteyam means non-stealing. Never possess anything which does not legitimately belong to you. I'll just take a couple of more minutes to finish this Yama topic. Next topic we'll take in the next class. Okay. Never possess anything which does not legitimately belong to you. Any unfair deal is also a stealing. Any benefit I get through any unfair deal, that becomes a benefit, that comes under stolen benefit. Whether other people know it or not, recognize it or not, Bhagavan recognizes what is stealing. For example, we employ a person and he deserves a particular amount as salary or wages. And if I do not give what is the deserved salary, the money I save by reducing the salary will come under stealing. And if you say that you did not steal, Bhagavan will say that you did not pay proper salary, which amounts to stealing. Therefore, stealing does not necessarily mean actual stealing, but any benefit I get through unfair means also is amounting to stealing. Therefore, give up stealing. That's the third yama. The fourth is brahmacharyam. Brahmacharyam in this context means giving up inappropriate attitude towards the opposite sex. If it is a male, the male should be given up inappropriate attitude towards female. Similarly, the female should give up all inappropriate attitude towards the male. That will come under brahmacharya. Mind you, brahmacharyam has got lot of definitions in different contexts. But in this context, giving up of inappropriate relationship with the opposite sex is called brahmacharyam. Some scholars interpret brahmacharyam as right use of energy, which leads us to consider how we actually use and direct our energies. So brahmacharyam also evokes a sense of directing our energy away from external desires and instead towards finding peace and happiness within ourselves to progress in the spiritual path. So ahimsa, satyam, asteyam, brahmacharyam, and the last yama is aparigraha. Parigraha means possessing too much, amassing wealth, disproportionate to known sources of income, as they say. Even if I am legitimately earning, according to the Shastram, even the legitimately earned wealth, one cannot own beyond a limit. He has to share it with the society. And when there is no sharing, there will be a big imbalance between the rich and the poor, which will lead to the birth of Robin Hoods. They will rob from the rich and then distribute to the poor. Therefore, aparigraha means non-possession. Non-possession means possess only what you require for your living. Don't amass wealth for 7 generations. So these are all the 5 moral restraints or moral disciplines, the don'ts, which are collectively called yama. Then come the 5 do's, the dhyama, which we will see in the next class. Incidentally, we will not have a class on next Saturday because again I am coming back. I'll be in the flight. So the next class, Gita class, will be held on the 17th, if I'm not wrong. It's a Saturday. Okay. Now we'll say the prayers. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Hari Om. Dhanyawad hai. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Thank you.
Dhanyawada Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you, Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? No hands are going up.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
I think the Patanjali Maharshi's the Yoga Sutra, I must have tried to read so many times. I have even heard other people's discourse on that. But then this 5 yamas, what you have described today, it goes straight into the heart and the mind. I
Yeah.
think thank you for the wonderful
When we are
explanation.
talking about spirituality, all these are all important.
Yes,
I
Guruji.
talk of spirituality just because you attend some satsang, just because you do, and other times you do whatever you want to do.
Mm-mm.
But then it's not easy, but one needs to pay attention to these things, and then only integrated personality one can get.
Yes, the final meaning of each of the yamas, it is very beautifully explained, Guruji. Thank you very
Simply,
much.
just
I think sometimes simple explanation makes more sense than elaborate, in-depth
we
explanation.
complicate things by being elaborate. That is true. Okay.
Okay, Guruji. Thank you. Namaste.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hari Om,
Namaste.
everybody. Then we will meet in the next class. I will send a notice regarding the next class, which I said not next Saturday, but the following Saturday. Okay. Hari Om.
Thanks.
Dhanyavadaha.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Guruji.